Hello and welcome to another round of predictions from the Unsport podcast. It's match day 41 in the championship. I'm Craig Savage. With me to my left is Charlie Betts, and down below is Daniel Cody, who's still reeling from Huddersfield beating Birmingham. As we move on to the first fixture of the weekend, it's Friday night fixture. It's Charlton Athletic against Millwall, the London derby. Going to start off with Daniel Cody.
Well, both teams drew midweek. Charlton are flying since the lockdown. Millwall, a bit of recovery. I know you don't get much in the Quest highlights, but they looked okay. So I'm going to stick with them both at the same result again. I'm going to start with a draw, and I'm going to go for low-scoring game, 1-1.
Charlie.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Dan. I think Charlton have obviously picked up some points, done very well. But Millwall got some, they're a good direct side. And I just think, do you know what? I think it'll be a 0-0 draw. I just can't see it being that exciting. It probably suits both teams to a degree, I suppose. But yeah, 0-0 for me.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree on the draw, to be honest. It's one of those. I watched Millwall against Swansea in the first half the other day, and they were pretty impressive. But they didn't push on, to get the second goal or the third goal, and they got held to a draw against Swansea from a free kick. But Charlton, on the other hand, obviously they started well. We obviously talking about them a lot during lockdown about Lyle Taylor, and obviously they clearly don't need him at the moment. But down there is still very tight. I'm also going to go for a 1-1 draw. Derby County versus Nottingham Forest. That's a big game this weekend at 12:30. Starting off for you, Charlie.
I don't know. This is a real tough one because, to be honest, but if you go back a couple of sort of game weeks, we weren't really too sort of fussed about Derby, and as a group, I mean, didn't really predict much from them, but they pulled some good results together. I don't know. Forest are grinding out wins, even if they're not playing well, they're still winning. I think they've been in good form. I don't know. There'll be a lot of goals. I'm going to go 2-1 Nottingham Forest, I think. But I think it'll be a good game, actually.
Daniel.
I mean, as Charlie says, it's finally the first match week since the return. We can probably start to talk about form, and both of these two are in blooming good form. So I don't know what the results go for either. It's probably the second hardest one of the week to predict, but I'm going to go high scoring as well, but another draw, 2-2.
I also agree it's going to be some high scoring. I think the lack of fans does dent it a little bit, even though my prediction for the score is going to be totally opposite what I'm just saying. But Derby, obviously, a good win against Preston. Wayne Rooney's free kick was just vintage Wayne Rooney. Forest, obviously, not much talked about Forest, obviously, since the restart, because obviously they're all concentrating on Leeds, and it's always Leeds, and it's Leeds, and Leeds, and bloody Leeds. So obviously Forest just solidifying themselves in the playoffs. But I because it's a derby, big game, I think they'll normally they're tight, but I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this one. I'm going for Derby County 2, Nottingham Forest 3.
Well, that's going to finish 0-0, isn't it?
Yep, yes it is. Moving on. Speaking of Leeds and bloody Leeds, it's Blackburn Rovers versus Leeds United. I'm going to start this one off. Obviously, Leeds would be very frustrated. Dropped 2 points on Tuesday night to Luton. I don't think they can blame the lights this week. Can't score. Blackburn, on the other hand, mixed bag. I really don't get Blackburn. I really don't. And I don't think Blackburn are going to win this time. I think Leeds might bottle it this week. I think I'll go for Blackburn 0, Leeds United 2. Charlie, I'll start with you.
Do you know, it's tough because I agree with what you're saying, but Blackburn are 4 points off the playoffs. They're still in the hunt for all of it, and I think I know there's only, 5 games left now? 6 games left. I think, you'd be a fool to maybe not consider, maybe this goes in their favour, I suppose, is what I'm saying, because people are like just counting them as a mid-table sort of, I don't know. It's a tough one. I think it'd be closer than what it would have been on paper, say, last week. Leeds, for whatever reason, are rocking all over the place. I don't know. There's no pressure on Blackburn. I'm not going to go, I don't think Blackburn will win it, but I'm going to go for a draw, 1-1.
Cody?
I'm a little bit torn on this one purely because of watching Leeds Luton, obviously, where Leeds, of course, the dominant side in possession, had all the territory, but they were so lacking in cutting edge, which I found really strange. They missed some awful chances. They only really produced a couple of great saves out of the keeper. So I was a little bit disappointed by them. But having said that, Blackburn have been awful the last couple of weeks. So I'm still going to go for Leeds to nick it, but probably not a great performance. But I don't think they'll care at this stage. 2-1 Leeds.
Moving on to probably the best team so far in the since the restart is Brentford. They're at home to Wigan Athletic, who are in administration, unfortunately. Obviously, you two spoke about it in the video. If you click on the eye above, it's a very good topic, good chat by them too. Cody, obviously, will the administration affect cheer them up, or they will fall away?
Well, I said the other game was the second hardest to predict, because this is going to be the hardest, because no one has a clue what way it's going to go. I mean, on Tuesday night, Wigan were brilliant. They absolutely battered Stoke. It looked like they just about wrapped up safety. And then the next day, out of the blue, as you say, the administration call came. Thankfully, we've had a few responses from Wigan fans, so I'm a bit more knowledgeable than I was a couple of days ago. And as a result, and because of the type of squad they've got and a lot of players that are going to be fighting to get to another club, I'm actually going to predict Wigan to get something out of the game and continue their good form, but only a draw. So I'm going to go 1-1.
So that's the fourth game in a row that you haven't gone for Brentford.
I was never going to.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Brentford are in scintillating form, aren't they? I just wanted to say that, but no, they're obviously you've covered it between the period. They're in great form. I honestly think that Wigan are, and I'm going to contradict myself slightly from what I said yesterday. I do actually think that they've got enough of a cushion that they could get that 12, 13 point gap, but they are going to be running out of games, and I just don't think they're going to be strong enough to beat Brentford, despite the motivation of that. If they lose tomorrow, I don't know what happens then, because they're getting slowly dragged into it. I think it's a real shame, obviously, without going into too much detail of it again. But for that reason, I can only still see a Brentford win, because they're just unstoppable at the minute. So I'm going to go, not a thumping, but 2-0 Brentford.
Yeah, I to be honest, I've obviously didn't have my opinion. I wasn't on the show yesterday. Sorry, guys.
What is your opinion of interest?
It's a hard one because, yeah, I said none of us saw that coming. We didn't expect the Championship side to be in administration this so close to, obviously, after a return. And you think like League 1 and League 2, who haven't played games, you think they would be in administration ahead of the Championship side, even though there's no cash flow really. Yeah, so it's very sad. Obviously, the situation of the points deduction, that doesn't help. Obviously, that's always it's going to be in the back of their mind. So it's, instead of them actually trying to win games, they're going to say, what's the points gap between us right now and third from bottom? Obviously, at the moment, it's 8. So they've got to find a way to get technically 5 more points, which is very tough when you look at. Obviously, I haven't seen the fixture list, but it's going to be very tough. So for me as a manager to just go out and play your normal game. Don't worry about the others. If you go down, obviously because of administration, fine, we go down, but just carry on playing as normal. And they've been picking up wins they're unbeaten in 6-7 games now, so they just got to keep going really. But obviously, no one wants the team to get into administration, and it's very sad. As Luton fans, we know how it feels. It sucks. So going by that, I think they'll lose. No, Brentford are fantastic. They are really, really good form. I've been very impressed with Brentford, but Brentford are far too strong at the moment. So they're going to win 3-1.
Wow. I don't want to predict them not to win. To win, sorry, on the 1 week they don't. So I can't predict a Brentford win now.
No, you keep jinxing it. I don't know why. Anyway, we move on to another derby. It's the River Severn derby. Bristol City, they're at home to Cardiff. I'm going to start this one off. It's going to be another tight game. Obviously, Bristol City are very bad, terrible. Bristol City are on terrible form at the moment. They're very mixed out. I don't really get Bristol City. But I think Cardiff, they're going to sneak. Obviously, they'll be frustrated from the draw against Charlton the other day, but I think they're going to sneak this 1-0. Charlie?
Yeah, it's tough really, because I think Bristol City don't seem to have much to play for today. They're sort of mid-table. Cardiff are in the playoffs. It all points towards a Cardiff win, and Cardiff have turned up against the teams around them, when they played Preston, beaten 3-1, obviously. And they played, what is an informed Charlton and managed to sneak a draw. So it all really points in terms of form to a Cardiff win, and I think I'll have to go with that. So I'm going to go 2-0 Cardiff City.
Cody?
I mean, I agree with you boys on the form, but Bristol City, obviously I predicted them for promotion, but they have been shocking since they came back. Really struggling without a crowd by the looks of it. although 1-0 at Nottingham Forest, probably a slight improvement on their previous performances. Cardiff in good form, so maybe body odd goal. 1-0. 1-0 again.
Moving on, Fulham at home to Birmingham City. Birmingham picked up a very bad loss to Huddersfield on Wednesday night, which no one saw that coming. Fulham needed that fight with 3 points against QPR in the derby. Danny Coast, not for you.
Well, Birmingham are very quickly becoming my least favourite club after dropping points at home to the team that can't score and conceding 3. And then obviously losing at home to Huddersfield and getting absolutely battered against a team that had lost both of their first 2 games. So all of it points towards a Fulham victory. As you mentioned, a key result for them in a week. Still missing Mitrovic, which will be important, but actually it seemed to just take a little bit of the load off them. They weren't as expected to win because they were missing a key player, and they played really well. But QPR are inconsistent, so against them, can you read too much into it? But I'm going to stick with Fulham. 2-0.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you, to be honest, of a 2-0 win, to be honest. It's why did Birmingham do this? Why did Birmingham do this
Well,
to
come
me?
on, help us. Help us.
You had Hull, and you had Huddersfield. 2 at home. Both at home. With the crowd there, I would say, yeah, I think you're going to get at least 4 points. To get 1.
Yeah.
It's that manager announcement. It's the manager announcement.
I have to agree. Peckler saying he's going in the season has not helped them whatsoever. They've just given up for him. They don't give a damn. Yeah. I'm probably wrong, but they just looks like they don't give a damn. But Fulham, Scott Parker will be absolutely thrilled from Wednesday, as I just said. So I'm going to have to go with 2-0 as well. Charlie.
I'm going to go 3-0 Fulham for obviously I'm not going to go with the old ground that you said, but just a quick note on Birmingham, really. If you look at it, if they'd have won those 2 games as we'd spoken about, they'd have been in the top half quite comfortably and not really had sort of too much to worry about. And I'm not saying they have, but they're only actually, 7 points off the relegation zone, which I'm not saying they'll go down, but it's just an unnecessary sort of situation to find yourself in, which could have been avoided with much, I don't know. I'd be questioning their sort of attitude as a team. But for me, 3-0 Fulham.
Well, you're just saying about the bottom of the table. Obviously, everyone's picking up points at the bottom now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
They could be dragged in with 5 games to go. You never know.
I think to sum up Birmingham really quickly, if the season had been another 5 games added on, if this had obviously happened a bit earlier, I reckon they'd have been one contender to go down in terms of the form they're in. I think that what will save them is the fact there's not enough games for them to get dragged into it. But the way they're playing, anyway. Sorry.
Speaking of a team that's in relegation, the team that Birmingham lost to the other day, Huddersfield. They're up next. Huddersfield are playing Preston at the John Smiths. I was about to say the McAlpine, which is the old same anyway. Huddersfield v Preston. Charlie.
Well, before the last game, I probably would have said a resounding Preston win, but that must give you confidence, surely, in the situation Huddersfield are in to put 3 goals past anyone. It must give you confidence. I mean, I think we've been quite vocal about. We obviously like the Cowleys, but they're probably not the most beautiful team to watch in terms of that. And maybe that's what you need down there. So I'm going to go bold here. I honestly think they'll pick up a point. So I'm going to go for 1-1.
I have to agree, to be honest, on the 1-1 draw. Huddersfield, they'll be the confidence will be up. Huddersfield, Preston are totally out of form. They can't pick up points when they need to. Again, they're going to be away to another team that's near the bottom. Away from Huddersfield, it might be a sharp shot and then get one on the counter attack. But I Preston need points, but I only think they're going to get the 1, so I'm going to go for 1-1. Cody.
I've found it hard to read because of the Huddersfield result of Birmingham, which just threw the cat amongst the pigeons. But I've seen Preston's form. Obviously, I watched them play against Luton, and I don't know. I just can't see them getting a result from it. I think Huddersfield are going to pull away now, and that result's going to make the difference. It only takes 1 sometimes. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Huddersfield victory.
Up next is Luton Town versus Reading. Luton picked up a valuable 1-1 draw against Leeds the other day, so it takes them 5 points out of possibly 9. Danny Coast, on with you.
Couple of injury concerns, but he rested a lot of attacking players and got a point, which is a brilliant outcome. My worry is the first game at home, we didn't look great. And Luton, probably of all the clubs, will miss a home crowd the most. The intimidation there has led to a lot of the results. Our home form and our away form are different for a reason this season. So as much as I'd love Luton to win and stay up, I think they're going to be held to a draw. So I'm going to go 0-0.
Charlie.
Yeah, I think this is the first game that there's probably a bit of expectation on Luton. I think up to now they've sort of been not written off. That's the wrong word, but do you know what I mean? It was a bit of everything was a bit of a bonus, you know. But now and potentially with Wigan, we obviously don't know what's going to happen with their points total. It means that potentially there's only 1 or 2 places left in terms of relegation. So there's suddenly a bit of expectancy on Luton. I don't think necessarily they'll fare as well with that. So, however, Reading a bit of a nothing sort of thing for really, isn't it? So I'm going to go resolute 0-0.
So you've both gone for 0-0.
Yeah,
which is
Luton
interesting.
conceded the most goals in the leagues. What a decision, eh?
Which is interesting because I have not gone for a 0-0 draw. I think Nathan Jones tactically for the last 2 games has got it spot on for what he needs to do, especially away from home. But now it's at the Kenny. Obviously, yeah, the crowd, lack of crowd, as you said, it's hard. It's hard, but I think we can express ourselves a bit more against a team that's a bit lower down the table compared to the other 3 teams in the playoffs and top of the table. But I think Luton are going to win 2-0. I'm going for it. I'm bloody going for it as well.
I hope you're right more than ever, mate.
I hope so too, because I know I will. Stoke City at home. They're at home to Barnsley. It's another game down the bottom. It's going to be another tight one. I'm going to start this one off. It's going to be really tight. I don't really know what's going to happen. I am going to go for a Stoke win 1-0. Just Cody.
I've gone the complete opposite. I've just had to look at the form book. I mean, Stoke was so bad against Wigan. I mean, I know Michael O'Neill came out and was very honest in his assessment, and that might make a difference. But I can't see it. It's going to be a Barnsley win for me, and that pains me because they're one of the sides I'd banked on finishing above if we were going to stay up. So I have to go Barnsley, and I'm going to go comfortable 2-0.
Charlie.
I don't know. See, I know you mentioned about the Brentford one being the toughest one for me. This is such a difficult one to call. Because, I mean, the whole pitch can change on this result, can't it? The whole bottom of 3-4 of the table. I don't know. The conservative part wants to go for a draw. The romantic part of me thinks that hopefully Barnsley get a win. But I think my head actually is saying I think Stoke might grind out a 1-0 win. And I've said this, I think I've backed Stoke the last 2 weeks and they've lost. So it might do paper. But I think Stoke might grind out a 1-0 win. Because I'm hoping that was a shock for them against Wigan. And it might give a bit of a kick up the backside, proverbially, if you want a better phrase. 1-0 Stoke.
Moving on to Sunday, it's Swansea City against Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday were very poor the other day. They got spanked by West Brom. Swansea got a draw against Millwall from a lucky free kick. Everyone's raving that it's Brewster's goal when it clearly came off the goalkeeper. It's so obvious as well. Maybe it's a Liverpool thing. Once again, Liverpool leads. Anyway, moving on. Swansea, I think, will get the job done. I think they're going to win 2-1. Charlie.
Sheffield Wednesday not been in great form since they come back. Swansea a bit of a mixed bag, but I think at home as well. Swansea 2-0.
I've gone for Swansea to nick a victory as well, but only by the 1. I think 1-0's gone back to being my favourite scoreline this week, but 1-0 Swansea, Sheffield Wednesday. It's hard. They were good last weekend at Bristol City, but you can't judge the form because everything's all over the place. So 1-0 Swansea, and I'm sticking with it for no good reason.
Moving on to the second game on Sunday, it's a Neil Warnock derby. I just realised it's a Neil Warnock derby. Middlesbrough, they're at home to Queen's Park Rangers. QPR pretty much out of form. Neil Warnock effect. Obviously, this is recorded before Hull versus Middlesbrough, so we obviously don't know from the result from tonight's game. But we said the Neil Warnock effect will take place again, and I'm sticking with Neil Warnock effect carrying on. I think they're going to take a 1-0 victory because QPR can't seem to score many goals. Charlie.
Yeah, I'm going to apply your logic and just extend it a bit and say that QPR seem to leak goals. Neil Warnock has got a strong, resolute. I mean, if you look at the last couple of performances, they've been his last performance even. They have quite a strong, defensive unit. So I'm actually going to go bold on this because I think QPR are so woeful at the minute and don't really give a hoot. 3-0 Middlesbrough.
3-0 Middlesbrough. Daniel Cody.
I am going in between the two. I'm going for 2-1 to Middlesbrough. I think QPR will get a goal, but as you mentioned, they're leaky at the back. So we're going to go 2-1 Middlesbrough. Neil Warnock effect, it will continue. And they will win against Hull, don't worry.
As we move on to the final game from the Championship weekend, it's West Bromwich Albion. They are playing Hull City. It's going to be another tight one. Charlie, start with you, actually.
I think this is an absolute banker. I think if there was odds, I think West Brom would be odds-on favourite in terms of we don't condone gambling, obviously, but that kind of thing. So for me, I think everything points to West Brom win, especially after they played the other night. So for me, do you know what? I'm going to go bold here, and it might blow up in my face. 4-0 West Brom.
Ooh, okay.
But they need a big win. They need a win to lay down a marker now after what's happened in the last couple of weeks.
I thought they'd lay down a marker winning 3-0 on Wednesday night, but
not as big as 4.
Not as big as 4. Daniel Cody.
Well, Charlie's laid down what he thinks is a big marker. I've gone for 5-0. So I think it's going to be the biggest win of the comeback, I think. So West Brom have been brilliant. Obviously, we're doing this before Hull's game tonight, and I might look like an idiot before the game starts. But their only result was at Birmingham, and Birmingham are poor for the reasons we discussed earlier at the moment. So 5-0, and I'm sticking with it.
Well, I don't know what to make of this one. Really bad. I wasn't expecting high scores. Well, I lie. I've gone for 3-0.
You said it was going to be tight.
In theory. You never know the Championship. Anything, it could be ridiculous. You know what the Championship's like. You've seen the results since the restarts happened. But no, yeah. West Brom, I think they're going to be comfortable 3-0. Even though I said it'd be tight. But now they've got the goals scoring back. Yeah, I can see they're going in and being a mojo and move on to score loads of goals. And that is our predictions for this week's round of fixtures. Like, share, and subscribe. Do you agree with us? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you think we're stupid on West Brom winning 5-0, let us know. Please do. Give this video a thumbs up. Like, share, and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter @HonestFootball3. And we'll see you next time.